Hi there, I'm Charley Barnes. I'm the current Worcestershire Poet Laureate. Unfortunately, not for much longer. I only have about 4 weeks left of my Poet Laureate tenure for the county, which is sad and exciting in equal measure because it means it's not my job for much longer, which is obviously the sad part. But the exciting bit is that the hunt is on for the new Worcestershire Poet Laureate. So if you're in the county and you're a poet, please do have a little look at the Worcestershire Lit Fest and Fringe Facebook page for all of the details. I thought, given that performances will be sparse for the next month, one thing that I can do is contribute performances digitally. So I'm going to do a series of short videos where I roll out some of my favourite poems from the last 12 months or so, and I'm going to start with something titled "This Might Be an Existential Crisis." I am sitting on the floor of my childhood bedroom that looks nothing like my childhood because I'm meant to be an adult now, when my best friend texts me to say, "It sounds like an existential crisis." And I think, thank God that someone has given a name to the lost robin living in my chest cavity, skinny on summer but desperate for the comfort of winter that brings with it reasons to stay inside. He is pecking at berries and loose arteries, trying to find fight enough to keep us both alive while I flap my wings effortlessly. Partly because I know I don't have the energy to fly, but mostly because I know running away from my problems isn't actually an option, but neither is sitting on the floor of my childhood room that looks nothing like childhood, yet here we are. So we'll call this part setting the scene. There are times when this robin is joined by a too active squirrel. A rabbit who has just this second realised what his feet can do against the ground, and an old dog who has somehow found himself lost in this mess of woodland. And while the others beat the earth and set fire to everything that can't outrun them, the dog is tired. I'm 27 when I realise that in this analogy, I'm the dog. 27 when I realise that being an adult isn't as easy as my mother makes it look. There are times when shitstorms of the greatest size and breadth will settle heavy, and their duration can't be predicted by specialists at the Met. 27 when I realise that choosing not to make a decision isn't actually a decision. Loving someone doesn't mean liking them every day. Living to work is a lifestyle worth having if you actually love what you do. 27 when I Google existential crisis definition. What does existential really mean? What to do when you're having an existential crisis. WikiHow tells me to find my crisis trigger, and I look to the robin, who looks to the squirrel, who looks to the rabbit, who looks to the sleeping dog. We're a Chinese whisper chain of confusion, each of us only in the know as much as the one before us allows us to be, and I wonder whether this glorious mess of unknowing is why I'm still sitting on the floor. When I've half found my trigger, I look at step 2, which tells me to leave my crisis moment alone for a while, which sounds a little like advice that I've been giving myself for 6 months now. Step 3 tells me to make a list of the people who love me, and I start with the robin because we sort of need each other, but my family members are a close second, followed by friends I've known for years, followed by people I wouldn't recognise on the street although we're connected on Facebook. Step 4. Imagine one of your idols giving you advice. I go downstairs. The house is a hot mess of renovations because Mum always has to be busy, but she's there. Boiling water, adding tea bags, opening arms. I hand her the robin and explain that I don't know what to do with him anymore. She holds him for me. Feeds him on love and kind words and platitudes until I feel my rib cage crack open, until I feel air rush into my lungs that feel hungry like woodland creatures who have been lost in a winter storm, and I wonder whether this is existential. Whether realising we are not alone, even when we feel it, is enough.